Part 1. The Betrayal of the Crew. And welcome back. Today we're finishing the legendary story of the Odyssey. After leaving the land of the dead, Odysseus and his crew sailed past the deadly sirens, escaped the six-headed monster Scylla, and survived the giant whirlpool Charybdis. Eventually they reached the island of Thrinacia, where the sacred cattle of the sun god grazed peacefully. The prophet Tiresias had given Odysseus one simple warning. No matter how hungry they became, they must never harm the cattle. At first the crew obeyed. But after being trapped on the island for many days, they became desperate with hunger. Ignoring Odysseus' warnings, they slaughtered the sacred animals and feasted. The gods were furious. As soon as the ship left the island, Zeus unleashed a terrifying storm. Lightning shattered the ship into pieces. Every one of Odysseus' remaining companions drowned beneath the waves. Only Odysseus survived. Part 2. 7 years with Calypso. Alone in the endless sea, Odysseus drifted until he washed ashore on the hidden island of Ogygia. There he met the beautiful nymph Calypso. She fell deeply in love with him and refused to let him leave. According to this version of the story, Calypso used magical lotus flowers that slowly clouded Odysseus' memories and made him forget the life he desperately wanted to return to. 7 long years passed. Although he lived in paradise, his heart still belonged to Penelope and Ithaca. Finally, Calypso realized she could never replace the family he loved. She helped Odysseus build a raft and told him to surrender himself to the sea. Once again, Poseidon tested him with violent storms. But this time fate carried Odysseus home. Part 3. Return to Ithaca. After 20 years away, Odysseus finally stepped onto the shores of Ithaca. His home had changed. The loyal servant Eumaeus told him that the suitors had become even more ruthless. They had even hired assassins to kill Telemachus and Mentor. Mentor lost his life protecting the young prince. Odysseus rescued Telemachus from the attackers, but kept his true identity hidden. To avoid suspicion, he disguised himself as a poor traveler and used the name Sinon. As he entered his own kingdom, nobody recognized the once mighty king. Nobody except one faithful companion. His old dog Argos looked at him one last time, recognized his beloved master, and peacefully passed away. Part 4. Father and son reunion. Soon Odysseus secretly revealed the truth to Telemachus. For the first time, father and son stood together. Telemachus had spent his entire life hearing stories about the legendary king. Now the hero stood before him in person. Together they quietly prepared their revenge. Meanwhile, the disguised Odysseus entered the palace where the arrogant suitors mocked and insulted him. The time for justice had finally arrived. Part 5. The Bow Challenge. The next day, Penelope made an announcement. She declared that she would marry whichever man could string Odysseus' legendary bow and shoot an arrow cleanly through a row of axe heads. One by one the suitors tried. None of them could even bend the mighty bow. Then the old traveler stepped forward. The hall filled with laughter as the beggar picked up the weapon. But with effortless strength, Odysseus strung the bow in a single motion. He released the arrow. It flew perfectly through every axe head. The room fell silent. The beggar was gone. The true king of Ithaca had returned. Part 6. The final battle and legacy. The shocked suitors reached for their weapons. But it was already too late. Odysseus and Telemachus fought side by side through the great hall. One after another the suitors fell. Even Antinous, the man who had terrorized Ithaca for years, could not escape justice. When the battle ended, the kingdom was finally free. But victory did not erase the pain of the past. Odysseus chose not to cling to power. Instead, he entrusted the future of Ithaca to Telemachus. Together with Penelope, he left once more, hoping to find peace after a lifetime of war, loss, and sacrifice. And so ended the incredible journey of Odysseus. A story of courage, intelligence, temptation, heartbreak, and hope. Even after thousands of years, the Odyssey continues to remind us that the hardest journey is often the journey home. Thank you for joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed this retelling of the Odyssey, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know which story you would like me to cover next.